Let me tell you about the last time I felt truly stupid in my own shop. It was like 2 years ago. A guy rolls in with a gorgeous Genesis, maybe 3 years old, low miles, but he's visibly not happy. He's telling me the transmission feels off. Clunks, jerks, the whole 9 yards. He's already planning to sell it, convinced the transmission is toast. I'm thinking about the 5-figure rebuild I'm about to quote him. Nevertheless, I pull it into the bay and I'm poking around. Transmission fluid is perfect. No codes, nothing. I'm stumped. I'm about to dive into a deep diagnostic hole when I spot the Smart Shift button. And then it hit me. The setting was on Sport Plus mode. The transmission was holding gears like a race car. I clicked it back to normal. The car drove just fine. That day I learned a hard truth. Hyundai owners are accidentally destroying their cars with their own index fingers. You see, Hyundai decided to give us drivers all this cool tech. But what they didn't tell you is that half of these convenience features and hidden settings are slowly, quietly murdering your engine, your transmission, and in turn your wallet. I'm Dean. I've been a mechanic for over 15 years, and I've seen more engine failures caused by a button pushed right there on the dashboard than by bad oil. If you own a newer Hyundai, you need to dive into your infotainment screen or look at your dashboard switches right now, because I'm about to tell you about 9 settings that are probably active and are all ticking time bombs, silently killing your engine. Let's get into it. We're turning these off. I'll be starting with the worst offender, the biggest one on your dashboard. I'm talking about setting number 1, the idle stop and go ISG feature. I know. It's supposed to save gas. The EPA loves it. But here's the reality that no one at the dealership tells you. Every time you pull up to a red light and your engine shuts off, you are using your starter motor, your battery, and your engine's oil pressure to start the car again 30 seconds later. I had a lady with a 2020 Santa Fe come in last year complaining about a rough start. I tested her battery and it was shot. Not just dead, completely destroyed, gone. We spent some time wondering what could have caused it. After some days, yes, not hours, days, I finally made Sherlock Holmes proud and cracked it. It was the ISG system, which she always had on. You see, the ISG system cycles the starter so much that it can drain a healthy battery in under what? 3 years, maybe less. That's $300 for a new battery. But it doesn't stop at destroying your battery because it takes your engine too. Here's how. When the engine stops, oil pressure drops to 0. When it restarts, for that split second, you have metal-on-metal contact in the bearings. Do that 20 times a day, every day for a few years. You're looking at worn crank bearings and a $5,000 engine rebuild. The starter on an ISG-equipped car is beefed up, sure, but it's still a wear item. And the battery? It's not a standard flooded lead acid. It's an AGM absorbent glass mat that costs like twice as much and still dies prematurely because it's constantly deep cycled. Worse, when the battery starts to weaken, the engine computer compensates by enriching the fuel mixture to keep things stable, which washes oil off cylinder walls and accelerates ring wear. I've pulled dipsticks on ISG heavy cars and smelled gasoline. That's the smell of an engine that's gradually eating itself. You've got to turn it off. There's a button with an A and a circle arrow near your shifter. Push it every time you start the car. I do it before I even buckle my seatbelt. Make it a habit or you'll eventually pay with your engine. The next setting is you N lovers. You know yourself. Well, I've got some bad news for you all. Setting number 2. Sport mode. I'm not the biggest fan of fast cars, but I understand it all. The wind in your hair as you watch the world go by quickly. I was young once, but I've seen a lot of younger guys get these Sonata inlines and Veloster Ns and decide to live in sport mode 24/7. It feels cool. The steering gets heavy, the throttle snaps, but there's a whole lot more happening mechanically. Sport mode changes the transmission shift logic. It holds gears longer, meaning your engine is spinning at 4,000 revolutions per minute on the highway instead of 2,000 revolutions per minute. It also holds gears to keep the turbo spooled. Now on a cold engine, this is a complete disaster. I had a Veloster N owner come in with oil burning issues at just 40,000 miles. Yeah, you heard right, 40,000 miles. Yeah, you heard right. Warm up before ripping on it. The oil never got a chance to circulate properly before he started going full on Dominic Toretto. You see, cold oil has a viscosity that can be 10 times thicker than warm oil. In sport mode, the engine hits high RPM before the oil pressure has fully built to the variable valve timing actuators and the turbo bearings. Those bearings are oil-cooled and oil-lubricated. Starve them even for a few seconds, and you get coking in the turbo oil lines. Once that happens, the turbo dies, and if the turbo seals go, you're pumping oil into the intake and running the engine on its own oil, a runaway condition that tanks the whole motor. So I don't mean tear down your parade, but if you're going to use sport mode, use it sparingly. For daily driving, keep it in normal. Your engine will live longer, and you don't get to throw $5 grand on engine repair. Going fast always can't be worth that much, can it? Setting number 3, the auto defrost HVAC setting. This one sounds harmless, right? It's just a button to clear your windshield. Well, I also thought so until I learned differently. I'll need you to check your climate control settings right now. Is the auto defrost or front defrost light on? If you leave that on all the time, you are actively killing your engine. Let me explain better. The AC compressor runs when the defroster is on. It runs to dry the air so your windows don't fog up. If you leave that on constantly, the AC compressor is running 24/7. That puts a constant drag on your engine. It lowers fuel economy. But worse, it wears out your compressor clutch and bearing. I've seen compressors seize up on the highway. When that happens, the belt snaps or shreds. If that belt drives your water pump, your engine overheats in seconds. I'm serious now. Modern Hyundai engines often use a single serpentine belt to drive the alternator, water pump, power steering in older models, and AC compressor. When the AC compressor seizes, the belt stops moving and the water pump stops circulating coolant. You have maybe 30 seconds before the cylinder head warps. I've had to do 3 head gasket jobs this year alone because someone left the defroster on for 2 years straight, wore out the compressor, and then ignored what he called the weird noise. A seized AC compressor can and will kill an engine. Turn the defroster off when the windows are clear. Use it as a tool, don't turn it into your lifestyle. Next up is a setting you guys are definitely not going to believe has been silently killing your engine, but you've got to trust me now. Setting number 4, smart cruise control. This is a weird one, but stick with me. Everyone knows smart cruise control, right? A great feature for road trips. We've all had to use it at some point, but there's more to it. There always is, really. You see, if you set the following distance to the max setting and use it in the city, you are doing something called hunting. And yes, that's bad news for your engine. I had a Tucson come in with a transmission that was shuddering. The customer thought it was a mechanical failure. We hooked up the scanner and went for a drive. The transmission was shifting up and down every 2 seconds because the cruise control was trying to maintain a huge gap and kept getting cut off by traffic. That constant shifting overheats the transmission fluid. Hot transmission fluid loses its lubricating properties. When that happens, the clutches inside the transmission burn up. That's going to take about $4,000 to $6,000 from your pocket. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be you when that happens. The transmission control module learns your driving habits. When it sees constant gear hunting, it actually starts to learn that behavior and can become erratic even after you turn the cruise control off. More importantly, transmission fluid in a Hyundai 6-speed or 8-speed starts to degrade above 200 degrees Fahrenheit. In stop-and-go traffic with max distance cruise on, I've actually logged fluid temps hitting 230 degrees Fahrenheit within like 15 minutes. Yep, it happens that quickly. At that temperature, the friction modifiers break down and the clutch packs start slipping. A slipping transmission dumps metal shavings into the valve body, and before long, you're looking at a full rebuild. So if you're in stop-and-go traffic, turn the cruise control off. Simple. Keep the gear changes minimal. Well, talking about settings quietly killing your transmission, I've got another one for you. Setting number 5, the hill hold assist. This is a great feature on a manual transmission car, but on an automatic, it's often unnecessary and problematic. The hill hold assist keeps the brakes engaged for a second or two after you take your foot off the brake to keep you from rolling back on a hill. Makes sense, right? But as usual, there's always more to it. I'll tell you why it's destructive. When you're at a stoplight on a flat road, the system sometimes glitches and keeps the brakes partially engaged. You don't notice it because the car moves, but you're basically dragging your brakes. I've seen rear brake pads wear out in 15,000 miles because of a sticky hill hold system. Worn brakes aren't an engine problem, but the drag unfortunately is. That constant resistance makes the engine work harder, burning more fuel and heating up the transmission. And heat just doesn't go well with your Hyundai's transmission. I don't even want to know what model you've got. This is true for every single one. All. The hill hold system uses the ABS module to hold hydraulic pressure if the system doesn't fully release, and I've seen software glitches where it hangs for like 5 to 10 seconds instead of the usual 2. Now the torque converter has to fight the brakes to get the car moving. That generates massive heat in the transmission fluid and puts strain on the torque converter lockup clutch. I had a Tucson come in with a torque converter shutter at 50,000 miles. Turned out the hill hold had been activating randomly at flat intersections, forcing the converter to slip for hundreds of hours. The owner never even knew the system was on. So right now, I'll need you to look for a button that looks like a car on a hill, or dig into the settings menu to turn it off. You need it only when you're parked on a hill. Only then should you turn it back. Okay, the next one doesn't necessarily kill your engine directly, but it is destroying your alternator, and a dead alternator, just like a dead engine, will still leave you stranded. Setting number 6, the Highbeam Assist, HBA. Do you know of the Highbeam Assist? Here's what this feature does. It uses a camera to automatically dim your headlights. That camera is always on. That's fine though. The real problem is the constant switching. I had a 2019 Kona come in with flickering headlights. The owner had replaced the bulbs about 3 times. I looked at the battery voltage while driving. Every time the HBA switched the lights on or off, the electrical system saw a massive voltage spike. It was cooking the bulbs and putting strain on the alternator's voltage regulator. When the alternator dies, your car runs on battery power until it dies. And the chances of that happening while you're still on the highway is way too high. The alternator's voltage regulator is designed to handle gradual load changes, not instantaneous ones. HBA switching can create a voltage transient that exceeds 15 volts for a split second. Over time, that fatigues the regulator's internal components. Once the regulator fails, the alternator can overcharge the battery, boiling the electrolyte and destroying the battery, or undercharge, leaving you stranded. Now it still gets worse because on a modern Hyundai, the alternator isn't just a $200 swap. I wished it was that easy. These days, it's often integrated with the engine management system and can cost about $800 to $1,200 to replace and program. Yeah, the feature is great, but it's not worth that much, is it? So turn it off. You are smart enough to flip your brights on and off manually, I promise. Setting number 7, the Eco Mode. Hyundai went out of their way to sell the Eco Mode as this indispensable feature you just can't live without, but they didn't tell you the full story. Here's a secret that dealers don't tell you. Eco Mode is the enemy of your engine. I know it says eco for economy. Yeah, sounds like a hero. But the reality is it actually makes your engine work harder. In Eco Mode, the transmission shifts as early as possible to keep the RPMs low. It also dulls the throttle response. If you are a calm driver on the highway, Eco Mode is fine. But if you drive in the city, or if you are someone who needs to merge onto a highway with a little gusto, Eco Mode causes lugging. Lugging is when you put your foot down, but the transmission refuses to downshift, so the engine struggles at low RPMs with a heavy load. This is catastrophic for connecting rods and bearings. I've seen Theta 2 engines throw rods because people drove them too gently in Eco Mode, causing pre-ignition from the low RPM strain. Yeah, I know the Theta 2 isn't Hyundai's most reputable work in recent times, but still, this was the Eco Mode's doing. When you lug a direct injection engine, combustion pressures spike because the engine is at high load but low RPM. This can cause low-speed pre-ignition, LSPI, a phenomenon where the air-fuel mixture ignites before the spark plug fires, creating a shock wave that can crack a piston ring or snap a connecting rod. Hyundai even has technical service bulletins warning about LSPI and recommending specific oils to combat it. Running eco mode in stop-and-go traffic is like asking a marathon runner to sprint while breathing through a straw. If you have a heavy foot, stay in normal mode. The $20 you save in gas isn't worth the $5,000 engine. Setting number 8, the rear occupant alert. This is a safety feature designed to remind you not to leave kids in the back seat. It's a good idea. Scratch that. It's a perfect idea. But it comes with one major con I just can't look past. Sorry, guys. The feature also drains your battery. The system uses ultrasonic sensors and door logic that stays awake for a long time after you park the car. I've had 4 Palisades and Santa Fe's come in this year with dead batteries. No lights left on, no obvious drain. The culprit? The rear occupant alert system staying active and slowly draining the battery overnight. A battery that goes dead once loses about 30% of its lifespan. Dead 3 times? You've got to buy a new one. There's just no way around it. And hey, don't forget that a weak battery kills your alternator, which we've already established can be quite expensive, and can cause misfires because the fuel pump and ignition coils aren't getting the voltage they need. Modern Hyundai vehicles have a dark current limit of about 50 milliamps when asleep. Rear occupant alert can keep the CAN bus active for up to 30 minutes after parking, drawing 300 to 400 milliamps. Over a weekend, that's enough to pull a healthy battery below 11.8 volts, which is the point where sulfation starts to permanently reduce capacity. And here's the kicker. When the battery voltage drops, the engine computer compensates by increasing alternator output, which strains the alternator bearings and shortens its life. All of this happens because of a feature you probably didn't even know was active. Turn it off in the door settings unless you have a genuine need for it. And to close it all out, setting number 9, the auto wiper sensitivity. This is a weird one, but hey, I don't make the rules. We've all had the auto wipers go nuts in a light drizzle, swiping dry glass. Well, fun fact, it isn't just annoying, it's also dangerous to your Hyundai. When wipers run on a dry windshield, the friction creates drag on the wiper motor. But that's not the engine killer. The engine killer is the water. If your wipers are on auto and the sensitivity is set too high, they will run even when it's barely raining. But what happens when you go through a car wash? I've seen it happen twice. A customer goes through an automatic car wash, leaves the wipers on auto, and the sensor triggers the wipers to start. The brushes grab the wiper arm, snap it, and peel the arm back. That wiper arm then smashes into the A-pillar, but if it's violent enough, it can dent the hood and damage the cowl. If it damages the cowl, water leaks into the engine bay and directly onto the alternator or the engine control unit, ECU. Water in the ECU is an immediate total failure. Yeah, this might sound a bit too far-fetched, but there's still the possibility of it happening. And trust me, it happens more times than you'd think. A dead ECU will cost you about $1,500 to replace and reprogram, not to mention the risk of water getting into the spark plug wells if the cowl seal is disturbed. I had a Santa Fe where the owner ignored a broken wiper arm for a month. Water dripped onto the ignition coil, which caused a misfire, which dumped unburnt fuel into the catalytic converter, which melted the cat. That auto wiper setting ended up costing him like $3,200. Turn the auto wipers off before you go through the wash, or just keep them off all the time. I trust you to know when you need them. Look, Hyundai builds great cars. They're packed with technology that makes them feel futuristic. But here's the reality check I give every customer who sits in my chair. The more features you turn on, the more things you put at risk. The settings above? They're not bugs. They're features that are working exactly as designed. The problem is that the design doesn't account for real-world driving conditions. The stop-and-go traffic, the cold starts, the car washes, the weekend parking.